Hello, this is Dr. Olivia Thompson. Have you ever considered that the beverage you consume daily, perhaps for years, might be silently accelerating your brain aging, or, on the contrary, protecting your brain cell? That's what we're going to discuss today, and I guarantee some of this information will surprise you. As a physician, my mission has been not only to treat diseases, but primarily to prevent them. And few things are as important as maintaining our brain health as we age. Our brain is a fascinating organ composed of approximately 75% water, requiring not just adequate hydration, but also specific nutrients capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier, a highly selective protective filter that determines which substances can or cannot come into contact with our neurons. When we regularly consume inflammatory beverages, we create an environment of oxidative stress where brain cells begin to form amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. These are, unfortunately, the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. Let me tell you about Maria, a 67-year-old university professor who began noticing small memory lapses that became increasingly frequent. "I was always extremely organized," she told me during a consultation, "and suddenly I couldn't remember what I had just read." For years, Maria consumed diet sodas daily, believing she was doing her health a favor by avoiding sugar. What she didn't know, and what many of us still don't know, is that aspartame and other artificial sweeteners were contributing to a chronic inflammatory process in her brain. Do you identify with this story, or know someone who might be experiencing? If you're over 60 and have noticed that your memory isn't what it used to be, that names easily escape you, or that you need to write everything down to avoid forgetting, pay close attention to what I'm about to share. Let's start by discussing the beverages that may be silently harming your brain. The first of these, which I already mentioned in Maria's case, are diet sodas and beverages. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame are scientifically associated with increased inflammatory proteins in the brain. Studies conducted at Boston University showed that these compounds can damage microglia cells, which are responsible for cleaning accumulated toxins from the brain. It's as if your brain's garbage collection system became less efficient with each sip of diet soda. Did you consume any of these beverages today? What if I told you that 1 can of diet soda per day can increase the risk of cerebrovascular events by up to 43% in people over 60? Impressive, isn't it? The second beverage we need to discuss is alcoholic drinks when consumed in excess. I'm not talking about that occasional glass of red wine, which in small amounts may even have benefits. I'm referring to regular, excessive consumption. Alcohol, especially in larger quantities, destroys the myelin sheath of neurons, that protective layer that facilitates the transmission of nerve impulses. This dramatically reduces the speed of brain communication and accelerates brain atrophy. A study from Oxford University followed more than 500 adults for 30 years and found clear evidence that regular consumption of more than 14 alcoholic drinks per week was associated with a reduction in brain volume equivalent to an additional 12 years of aging. Can you imagine your brain aging an extra 12 years just because of a daily choice? In third place, we have sugary drinks like industrialized juices and conventional sodas. These cause glycemic spikes that, over time, can lead to cerebral insulin resistance, a significant risk factor for dementia. Your brain consumes approximately 20% of all glucose in your body, despite representing only 2% of your body weight. It needs glucose to function, but when we overload the system with refined sugar, we create an inflammatory cycle that impairs neurons' ability to properly utilize this glucose. Researchers at the University of California demonstrated that people who consume more than 2 sugary drinks per day have a reduction of up to 8% in the total volume of the hippocampus, a fundamental brain region for forming new memories. Have you ever considered how much sugar you're consuming just through what you drink? Our fourth villain is one that may surprise many of you: coffee with artificial sweeteners and additives. Before you worry, know that pure coffee can be highly beneficial for the brain, as I'll explain shortly. The problem is when coffee is loaded with artificial syrups, non-dairy creamers, and synthetic sweeteners. These additives transform a potentially neuroprotective beverage into a source of inflammation. A study conducted by the University of Copenhagen analyzed the impact of commercial coffees with additives and discovered that the compounds resulting from the interaction between caffeine and synthetic sweeteners can cross the blood-brain barrier and induce oxidative stress in nerve cells. Think about this the next time you order that elaborate coffee with various artificial ingredients. Finally, we have energy drink, increasingly popular even among older people. The combination of high-dose caffeine, taurine, and sugars provokes a veritable tsunami of oxidative stress in nerve cells, in addition to drastically interfering with sleep. And we know that quality sleep is essential for the brain cleaning process that occurs mainly during the night. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University demonstrated that regular consumption of energy drinks is associated with accelerated cognitive decline, equivalent to an additional 6 years of aging in people over 50. Are you wondering if there's any hope after so many concerning news items? Certainly there is. The good news is that our brain has an incredible capacity called neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections and even regenerate cells under certain conditions. And here's the most exciting part. We can enhance this neuroplasticity through the right choices of daily beverages. Let's now learn about the 5 regenerative beverages that can protect your brain and even reverse some damage already caused. The first is green tea, rich in EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, a powerful antioxidant that has the ability to penetrate the blood-brain barrier and directly protect neurons. Research conducted by the University of Basel in Switzerland demonstrated that regular consumption of green tea strengthens connections between brain areas responsible for memory. Volunteers who drank green tea daily for just 12 weeks showed a 37% improvement in working memory tests, the memory we use for daily tasks. Amazing, isn't it? The second protective beverage is pure coffee without artificial sweeteners or additives. Coffee contains phenolic compounds and chlorogenic acids that significantly reduce neuroinflammation. A study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease showed that consuming 1 or 2 cups of pure coffee per day is associated with a 65% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. Researchers discovered that caffeine, when not contaminated by artificial additives, stimulates the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that acts as a true fertilizer for neurons, promoting growth and strengthening connections. Have you had your pure coffee today? Our third brain ally is natural pomegranate juice. This fruit contains punicalagins and anthocyanins that powerfully combat oxidative stress in the brain. A fascinating study from the University of California discovered that elderly people who consumed natural pomegranate juice for just 28 days showed significant improvement in verbal memory tests, being able to remember, on average, 33% more words in standardized tests. The anthocyanins present in pomegranate have the unique ability to neutralize free radicals that damage neuronal membranes. A daily 200 ml glass can make a notable difference for your brain health. The fourth protective beverage is turmeric tea with black pepper, A powerful combination that I've been recommending to my patients for years. Curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories we know. When combined with piperine from black pepper, which increases its absorption by an impressive 2,000%, we have a natural remedy capable of reducing amyloid plaques and significantly improving cognition. Researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, discovered that patients with mild cognitive impairment who consumed this combination for 18 months showed not just stabilization, but improvement in cognitive test scores, something extremely rare to observe in intervention studies for cognitive decline. Last but not least, we have natural coconut water. Besides being deliciously refreshing, it provides essential electrolytes like potassium and magnesium that optimize neural function, in addition to helping with adequate hydration, fundamental for transporting nutrients to the brain. A study conducted at the Institute of Neuroscience at the University of Barcelona demonstrated that dehydration of just 2%, something many of us experience daily without realizing, can reduce cognitive capacity by up to 30%. Natural coconut water, with its electrolyte profile similar to blood plasma, provides superior hydration to plain water, especially for brain tissue. Remember Maria, our university professor with memory problems? After consulting a neurologist specialized in cognition, she replaced her diet sodas with green tea and coconut water. She added a daily cup of pure coffee in the morning and turmeric tea with black pepper at night. In the first weeks, it was difficult to abandon my addiction to diet sodas, she told me in a follow-up consultation. But after 3 months, I noticed I could read an entire book and discuss it without difficulty. My mental fog was finally dissipating, and Maria is not an isolated case. Researchers at Harvard University followed more than 900 elderly people for 12 years and discovered that those who regularly consumed anti-inflammatory beverages like green tea and pure coffee were 53% less likely to develop mild cognitive impairment, often a precursor to Alzheimer's disease. A crucial point I need to emphasize: replacing these beverages works better when initiated as soon as possible. Although neuroplasticity, this wonderful capacity of the brain to regenerate, remains active even after age 80, the earlier changes are implemented, the better the results will be. Every day counts when we talk about brain health. Based on recent studies published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, we know that what you drink today can determine how your brain will function in the next 10 years. A simple change in your daily beverage choices could be the difference between a sharp mind or the fog of forgetfulness. Now, let me share some practical tips for implementing these changes in your routine. First, start by replacing just one harmful beverage per day. For example, if you have soda with lunch, replace it with natural coconut water. After a week, make another substitution. These gradual changes are more likely to become permanent habits. Second, create a ritual for consuming protective beverages. For example, start your day with a cup of pure coffee while reading or doing crossword puzzles. Associating the neuroprotective beverage with a cognitively stimulating activity enhances the benefits for your brain. In the mid-afternoon, when many feel that energy drop, instead of resorting to an energy drink or coffee loaded with additives, prepare a refreshing green tea. Third, involve your family in this journey. Share what you learned today and invite your loved ones to make these changes with you. Social support is one of the most important factors for the success of any habit change, especially when we're talking about replacing beverages to which we may be chemically addicted. Fourth, pay attention to labels. Many beverages are marketed as healthy or natural, but contain artificial sweeteners, colorings, and preservatives. that can be harmful to the brain. A good example is industrialized teas, which often contain more sugar than a soda. Learn to prepare your own beverages at home whenever possible. Fifth, monitor your results. After 30 days following these recommendations, do a self-assessment. Are you sleeping better? Has your mental clarity improved? Is it easier to remember names and appointments? Many of my patients report significant improvements in the first few weeks, which serves as powerful motivation to continue. It's important to emphasize that these beverage-related habit changes do not replace other fundamental pillars of brain health, such as regular physical activity, quality sleep, cognitive stimulation, and meaningful social connection. All these practices work in synergy to keep your brain young and functional. I've observed in my clinical practice that patients who adopt these beverage recommendations, along with other healthy habits, often manage to reverse initial symptoms of cognitive impairment and recover their mental vivacity. And even for those who don't yet show signs of decline, these practices serve as true insurance for future brain health. Have you considered that, with increasing life expectancy, we spend more and more time in our senior years? Maintaining a healthy brain is not just about preserving memories. It's about maintaining autonomy, independence, and quality of life. It's about being able to continue learning, creating, and connecting with those we love. I'd like to share a reflection that I frequently make with my patients. Our brain is like a garden that needs to be cared for daily. The beverages we consume can be like crystal clear water that nourishes this garden, or like pollutants that slowly contaminate the soil. The choice is ours, and we need to make it consciously every day. Let me tell you one more inspiring case. Carlos, a retired 73-year-old lawyer, came to my office complaining that he could no longer keep up with his grandchildren in memory and strategy games. After a detailed evaluation, we discovered he was consuming coffee with artificial sweeteners, sodas, and a daily shot of whiskey before bed every day. We implemented the changes I shared today, and after 6 months, not only did his cognitive test score significantly improve, but he also started winning against his grandchildren in strategy games again. "Doctor," he told me emotionally, "I recovered not just my memory, but my confidence. I feel like myself again." Stories like this are what motivate me to share this information with as many people as possible. Let's do a little visualization exercise together. Imagine your brain 10 years from now. Can you see yourself easily remembering names, learning new things, having stimulating conversations, and living independently? Or do you see yourself struggling to remember where you put your keys, repeating the same questions and depending on others for basic tasks? The future you visualize can be profoundly influenced by the choices you make today, including what you decide to drink. Research shows that approximately 35% of the risk of developing dementia is related to modifiable factors, that is, aspects of our lives over which we have control. Dietary choices, including beverages, represent a significant part of these modifiable factors. This means you have the power to substantially reduce your risk through conscious daily choices. An important consideration: if you already have a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment or even early-stage Alzheimer's, know that these changes can still make a significant difference. While we cannot promise miraculous cures, science shows that we can slow the progression and, in some cases, stabilize or even improve cognitive function through lifestyle interventions, including proper brain nutrition. It's also vital to understand that genetics is not destiny when we talk about brain health. Even people with a genetic predisposition for neurodegenerative diseases can significantly modify their gene expression through lifestyle choices. This is what we call epigenetics, the study of how behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect how your genes function. In other words, your daily choices, including what you drink, can literally turn on or turn off certain genes related to brain protection or degeneration. Reaching the end of our conversation today, I want to leave you with a message of hope and empowerment. Your brain is a remarkably resilient organ, capable of adapting and recovering when we give it the proper nutrients and environment. The small choices we make every day, including what we put in our cups, have an immense cumulative impact on our brain health over time. If you learned something new today, if something I shared resonated with you, I ask you to try it for 21 days. This is the minimum time to start forming a new habit. Replace harmful beverages with those that protect your brain and observe the changes. Many patients report that after just 3 weeks, they not only notice cognitive improvements but also feel more energized, sleep better, and experience less anxiety. Remember, your brain is the central commander of everything you do, think, and feel. Taking care of it is not a luxury. It's a fundamental necessity. And sometimes, the most powerful change can simply begin with what you choose to drink. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these beverages do you already consume regularly? Which do you plan to incorporate into your routine starting today? Share your experience and your questions in the comments. If this content was useful to you, don't forget to leave your like, share it with those you love, and subscribe to the channel for more information about how to protect and enhance your brain health naturally. In the next video, I'll reveal the 3 minerals that 97% of seniors don't consume in sufficient quantity and that are fundamental to protect every cell in your brain. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember, small changes, big results. Your brain appreciates every healthy choice you make. This is Dr. Olivia Thompson, caring not just for your health but for your life.